I have more honest words to say that I would like to share with you all. I also went to a craniosacral therapist who does spiritual energy work, and for the first and when she first seen me, she could tell that I was all tense. I was skeptical about this spiritual work. I did not feel like this would be worth it, but as bad as I was feeling and as anxious as I was, I had nothing at this point to lose. I was not anxious or scared because of being in a dangerous situation, but with many of the fight or flight responses that had happened to me leading up to this point, my body was conditioned to be in this state of escaping the present moment. I was learning how to take control of my mind, but I could tell and feel that my body was not relaxed. I even had these feelings when I was going up to the Louisville Marathon, as if the only way to cope with my suffering was my conscience leaving my body. And I did not like that feeling, but what other choice did I have? Some nights I would have enough of feeling like this, and I would start crying because I was feeling completely hopeless. I dreaded to be around my parents because I did not want them to see me like this. But I knew that this was not a good way to live. I feared death, and that feeling of death was ingrained in my jacked up body. Everything got bleak and dark during these times often. The therapist even mentioned to me that she worked with former military people who had suffered from severe disorders, such as PTSD and flashbacks, much worse than what I was going through and what I was experiencing. I could not fathom the idea of what those poor people were facing. I was beginning to understand my mother, who also used to have the intense fear of driving. One cold day with icy road conditions, she almost slid onto a busy road, but it was as if an act from a higher power from within herself saved her from getting severely wounded or worse. Sometimes you truly do not know what someone else may be experiencing until you experience similar situations for yourself. Obviously, I was not trying to put myself in difficult circumstances on purpose. I never expected myself to be in this constant fight or flight situation. I would never wish these feelings upon my worst enemies. In fact, I believe that enemies only exist when we create them in our own minds. We need to also make sure to use our own time in order to care for ourselves, to be an example for ourselves and for how we want to manifest within our own lives. One thing that the craniosacral therapist suggested to me while she was working with the energy flow within my body, particularly my unaligned spinal fluids, she suggested that I need to do deep breathing to help release the tension. This was another thing with my anxiety. I was so tight that my muscles were contracting. No wonder that I had a difficult time relaxing, as well as breathing calmly. I was holding on to all these unhealthy emotions from my past that was starting to accumulate. My unresolved thoughts and feelings were living in the past, and they were being carried toward my future. And if I did not recognize them, and if I just kept grinding through life, then I knew that I was going to be a perpetual slave to my own lifestyle. My body was trying to release those unhealthy emotions, but I kept suppressing them, thinking that they would just disappear. I was trying to ignore them. I wish it had been that simple to ignore, but that is not the case. However, once you start to recognize and confront similar past issues, then you gradually begin to heal yourself from the inside out, and you'll eventually come out of the enslaved mindset much stronger than when you had first gone in. That's what I experienced back in 2018.